especially.
Yes. I think we should David. David. I think you should produce a Farbrengen.
Yeah.
Farbrengen.
Is that where they all However, neighbor don't see so much problem. Yeah, no, it's the yeah, so what is it?
That's Chaim.
This one? No, this one.
You'll say you drink it already. You cough before you drink it.
I got 30% of my liver, but go back.
You got the other 30%.
You're about missing this back then.
Yehuda, can you hear me, Yehuda? L'chaim. Say l'chaim. Shia, what's with your l'chaim over there?
Don't spill it.
Chaim. Burrow, you got a Chaim there?
You're getting younger and younger. That's good for you. You got that high price.
I was told the other night, you guys live on the highest spot. That's right. Where we live, that's the highest spot in the Swas area.
Yeah.
We get all the beautiful air. Plus the sunset. Anyway. Yeah, but we're all highest. Good air.
You start in Emmanuel, you go way out.
You go in valleys.
No, Aram.
It's a big settlement.
Sleep there.
No real Chabad. Just keep it on, but sure is not really Chabad.
Good. So,
It's like your family maybe.
Rabbi.
What kind of job these people have done? There's plenty of work there. They couldn't just work there. My friend Kirchner, I mean, he's traveling.
Send it back briefs.
What do you do? What? No, we had Shabbos with the Chabad family. A little bit, not much. But Kirchner did.
everybody's sorry about Kislev.
Yes.
Alles. Torah Binyan Kislev. So we find that the Indian from Yudzus Kislev connected intimately with the Indian Simcha. And let's say, it's mashma the pashtas that ein Simcha ke yoytze mi beis asurim. Like the Alter brings in like Lamed Aleph in Tanya, that he wants to give a chizuk and a mashal for the union of Simcha, Gedela in Avodas Hashem, then he brings a dogma, B'derech HaTshuva, then he brings a dogma from the Ben HaMelech sheyetze mibeis ha'asurim, achrei shehaya toichen, bebeis ha'asurim yetze l'choshi, v'chulu, but das is a inyan von Simcha Gedela. And it's Yedua that the Alter Rebbe called the inyan von Yutas Kislev his Simcha, a Simcha Shaloi. And he said that everybody, Kol Echad, there would be Sameach b'Simchosei, that he would, the Alter Rebbe said he would bring him out from wherever he need to be brought. That's to say, Afila bis Gehenna. I say there was Kamal Madregas Ba'inyan. He said that anybody who was B'tzar, he would bring him Reis Mitzare L'Simcha and other Bituim Kegon Zeh. And then he said Afila Gehenna. As Tom leaked it in Gehenna, Hashem Yishmael, he'll slap him out from there also. Mitzad the Statras B'Simchosei. But from them said man that the Alter Rebbe saw the inyan von Yitzis Kislev as the inyan von Simcha Gedela was Davki B'Yesas B'Shori B'Simcha, then it's possible to a person like the Alter Rebbe with the Zayin Koiches Atzumim, it's possible to bring people Legam Little Rishus Acheres, bring them Mekemis Rechekim B'inyan Aruchnias, and to be Makaravim to the Kavona Amitias and to Simcha Amitias. But we see that in Tanya, the Avodah B'Simcha is Perikovo. The Ike Hadgosha in Tanya on the Union of Avodah B'Simcha, even though it's mashma b'oid mekoyim over b'oid prochim of Ike liachrei Perikovo, that's where they wrote down. And Perikovo is Gematria Hashem Havaya, Ki Yadua, that the Chassidim of Medai given in that Indian, and the Ike before the Hashem Havaya, auch upon him b'shmoisam shel haprokim, it is dafki the Avodah B'Simcha. And that particular perik deals with the Indian from Simcha b'kol ha'matzorim, b'kol ha'yifanim, b'kol ha'madregas. He starts over the Indian from Simcha, even pastors, that if a mensch is someach, then he zoris yoter. And mishu who zoris, I feel he's not such a big wrestler, but if he wrestles with somebody, then if he's Azoris, then he's going to be Manatea. The Bekol struggle, or Bekol Milchoma, it's even Kozeh, it's a Davki the Far, it's a big Indian that the soldiers, B'Shas, Knisa, B'toch Mareches HaMilchoma, that they Davki go with Simcha. There's a Davki Atnua from Simcha Gedela. Ooh, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, whoa. Shalom Aleichem. Well, I see you brought Baruch along with you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Ooh, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom. This is, we have a chosin in our midst. So listen, Daniel, I have to find a place where Daniel is sitting. Are you okay there?
There's more chairs over there.
Sit behind you.
That's sure amazing. You probably met him on the email. That's Yehuda.
Tell me that. You want us to go in his room?
Daniel, would you like to wash?
No.
Good. Okay. Let's at least take halakha. Give Daniel halakha. Did you give Daniel?
Yeah. You pass a cup,
And we find that the Perikovov Be'atzmai begins with Inyonim B'Pashtas, like we spoke. Inyonim and Misha Zori's being in Muhammad, and he's going to be in a Tavkir. And then the Alter Rebbe goes on to deeper Inyonim, and then he reaches even a mensch, where he has a terror of not to be V'Simcha B'Klal, Tavkir some of that he's in a matter of what the world calls suffering, or in if an Eipach HaSimcha, the Alter Rebbe shows that Mitzad the Goydel HaMadrega, from which that Inyan is Nimshad. But Tavkir is Nimshad in a Za'ifen that's not able to notice it, the Golui, the Zeh HaOilam, that the Einei Bosa, how they call the ordinary fleshly eye, can't be Mavchin in the Goydel HaGilui. And therefore it comes in what appears to be a Dover Shlili. Aber B'Shorshay or Amiti or Be'elakus, it's an Inyan Gavoya Mai. And that's the Inyan of us making B'Yasurim, that there's Zecher, to Davki see the oil, B'Gurosi, B'Teikva, Shemesh, B'Teikva, B'Gurosi, Liyoset Lover. Aber Nimzel of Izeh, that the Perikovov, which is Isaac in the Inyan HaSimcha, sums up and demands the Inyan HaSimcha b'kol ha'oifanim, b'kol ha'madregas kulam, b'kol ha'matorim, ein shum teretz to be shoyl the Inyan HaSimcha. The whole Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, the ganze Torah of the Baal Shem Tov and the Magi, and the Alter Rebbe built on that, Kiyadua, is the whole Ike Chiddush of the Baal Shem Tov was the Inyan HaSimcha, Kiyadua. And there are all sorts of Inyonim which are misparish in the Divrei HaBaal Shem Tov, Davki L'tzad HaChiyuvi, by his man, that the Pirush HaMekubal by him, Adzman HaBaal Shem Tov was a shafa or a shlilas dika, how do you call it, a negating sort of in, and the Baal Shem Tov, what this Mahafad given, Davki to Inyonim, Even Simcha to Levov. Ad Kerikach, or the Sidua, the Sipo, and it's brought down in the Meluim from the Shilas Chuvas at the Tzemach Tzedek and Ur HaChaim. It's brought down this Meluim there at the end of the Sefer, and the Tzemach Tzedek tells the story that there's a din in Shulchan Aruch in Hilchos Yom Kippurim, as Shema Cholila, it happens to a person a certain thing which shouldn't happen on Leil Yom Kippurim. So it's written that Yidog Kol Hashana, and he should be, B'daigu, B'atzvus, V'chulu, mitzad that happened to him on Yom Kippurim, V'chulu. And it's even brought down in the Gemara, right near the end of Masechta Yuma. And then the Gemara says that if a person lives over the year, then he should be pleased, that he should know that Adarab it's been a Siman Tov, if he lives through the whole year. So there was once, the Tzemach Tzedek writes that he was once Yom Kippur, B'boiker Lifnei HaTfilah, he was with the Alter Rebbe. He was in his room, and they came in from the Choshev in Galayat, from the Choshev Chassidim, and he was in a mat of oil cement, and the Alter Rebbe said, what's the idea? What's happened? So he said that Inyan occurred to him, Ba'isa Halayla, and he's always meant. So the Tzemach Tzedek writes that the Alter Rebbe laughed at him. Yeah. The Alter Rebbe laughed at him and said, what are you doing being Atzuv? You're supposed to be B'Simcha. He said, it was written Yidog. You have to worry. So the Alter Rebbe said, he said, that's not for you. And he said, that's not for most people, B'Klal. It's only for very Hoich and Neshomas. And he said, Adarabba, he said, you have to be B'Simcha, both today and all the days of the year. And he said, if you'll be B'Simcha, Gedel of Meshach Kol Hashana, then you can be sure that you've been metakin, whatever may be shy to your neshama, you've been metakin. And so he said, go away and don't don't show how do you call it, a Morris Square, you can put him in my office. So the Alter Rebbe Mamish told him to, to clear up. So the Tzemach Tzedek was just dumbfounded, It's written in the Gemara and put down Shulchan Aruch. The Alter Rebbe himself written in Shulchan Aruch. So he couldn't figure it. So he said to the Alter Rebbe, why did you drive him away, and with a sharp guide and everything, and you demanded he dafki be b'simcha. So the Alter Rebbe said, believe me, he said, it happens with a lot of people that they're very pachad, that they're frightened that that's going to happen. That makes it happen. So the Alter Rebbe said, it's nothing, it has absolutely no significance. And he said, Mukublanu mihabal Shem Tov, that anything which will be mamayed from the Indian, from Aveda B'simcha, is not wrong. Kol Indian, there can be poigim, the Indian Hasimcha, Einu Inyanenu Klau. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe said the tikkun. If there is any drisha Inyan tikkun, if there is any necessity and a drisha for tikkun Inyanenu, it's only through the infant simcha. He has to be happy and sameach, b'simcha yisayro kol hashana. But ad kan. Loshen Atshuva, wie das steht dort in der Miluim. Aber we see from that the Klolos Indian, the Chassidus and the Torahs of Baal Shem Tov, and the Alter Rebbe mit all Ding, Perek Kov Vo is Davke Simcha. Aber Allah is kama when we're talking about a Yom Kloli, and that's not just a Stama Yom Kloli. The Rebbe Rashab, in the famous letter when he wasn't in Lubavitch, Tofrei Samach Beis, which is a very short amount of time. How many years is that, Tofrei Samach Beis? That's over 100 years now.
That's the year the Rabbi was born.
Huh?
The Rabbi was born in
I'm sorry?
The Rabbi was born in
113 years.
Yeah.
The Rabbi was born.
Whatever, it's a long time. But nonetheless, the Rebbe writes over there that Korev Hadov Aloim Yutes Kislev the Rosh Hashanah L'Chassidus. The whole concept of calling it Rosh Hashanah comes from that letter. Yeah, and there the Rebbe writes over there that this is the day She'oyer V'chayis Nafsheinu Nitan Lanu. That the whole Lichtigkeit, that is say oil, that the whole illumination, die weiß auf Englisch, Lichtigkeit, Lebendigkeit and Lichtigkeit of our souls was given to us Davke Yom Zeh, Davke Rosh Hashanah. We see that there are like two inyonim. There's the inyan for Nafsheinu, but that's Alter Rebbe, the Nefesh HaChiyuniyas, and sometimes the Alter Rebbe calls it Nefesh HaBihamiyas. Not always. More Chiyunis or more Bahamiyas. If you only live with the Chiyunis, you can fall into Bahamiyas. That's the problem. However, that's the Oifen and the Neshama, or the Neshama, or Nefesh Liatzmai, or this is Shayat L'chayas Haguf. Calling Haguf and Kiyum Haguf, Afilu to Dvorim Sheyesh Lem Toelis B'Shvil Haguf. Or if they become too much of a value, then they become shy to the Nefesh HaChiyunis HaBahamiyas. That's one oifen of our Chaim, that's one level that we live on Kol Hazman. Chutz von dem is another, Inyan von Ruchni is Ticha Chayes. Chayes Ruchni, but that's from Be'igah, from the Nefesh HaLakis. And Derech, the Nefesh HaSichli is, the Hashpah of the Nefesh HaLakis is massive within the body. Where did we get the power to have Oyer V'chayis Nafsheinu, that we should have the ability, K'mavur dort in Perek Yud, the Alter Rebbe says, Hinei Kasher Ha'odom, Magbir Nafshe Elikis Al Nafshe Habamiyas, Yeva Megorshe Kol Kach, V'chulu, what he starts talking about the Tzaddik. Ask yourself the question, who's the Odom? Where is their Odom? Because the Nefesh Elikis, her Indian is only Elikus and Rufnias, in Inyonim Nailim V'Toivim. The Nefesh HaBamiyas His Indian is only, behechlet, only Inyanim from Tibius, Bahamius, V'chulu. As im Kain, who is the Adam? Where is the Rabbi? You can't say it's the Nefesh Elokis because the Nefesh Elokis doesn't have the ability to be magbir one on the other. She knows only her Inyan. The Nefesh Avamis also knows only her Inyan. So who is the Adam? That's a big question. And the Tzemach Tzedek writes about that Makshim, Kushi Azu, that who is the Adam? So this is not a shir in Tanya, and if I'm not going to go into a Grace Arichas, who is the Adam, but this is the Nefesh HaSichli. So, Lefi Rova Meforshim, Pirushim, in Tanya is referring to, he's like a referee, and he can be magvir the Nefesh Al Nefesh Avamis, and he's the Inyan HaBechira. The Inyan HaBechira, Afshazeh Inyan Godel V'Niflo, it's stuck in the Nefesh HaSichli. It's not in the Nefesh HaLakis, and not in the Nefesh HaVamis of Adanit. It's stuck in a referee in the middle. That's where we have the Inyan, the Bechira. We see that there's a Inyan, you have to be Magbi, your Nefesh HaLakis, al Nafshei HaBahamiyas. And that Inyan, to be Magbi, the Tzad HaRuchni, Eloki, or Amiti, of the Inyan HaGufni, Bahami, those are the Inyan from Simcha. As Aridei, what the Mensch is Misamer, also in the order. The order has to be Simcha. He has to explain to himself, and he has to work out all the reasons what he's got to be Simcha. Plus, he has to do it because it's a mitzvah and it's a chiyuv, filo b'derech kabbalah seil. He also has to do it. Well, that's one of the inyanim from Tzoyin. Well, we see that the inyan from Tzoyin is mentioned a lot in these parashas. At Tzoyin Lovon and Tzoyin this and so on. We see when Yaakov even sent Yosef after Shlichas, in today's parsha, not today's, but in this week's parsha, he said, Lech ra'ei es shloim achecha ve'shloim hatzoyin. That's interesting. So Emes, the tzoyin, that was Yaakov Avinu's panosa. Yeah, that was their way of panosa. So find out what shloim hatzoyin is aina would make sense. Yeah, find out how things are going when they get to the business. There's an amazing emphasis, kol hazman, al inyan hatzoyin. And when Yaakov sent to Esau the message through the Malachim, Malachim Mamish, Rashi says it was Mamish Malachim. He sent to Esau. He says, "Vayihi leitzayin." Yeah, we said to listen to Vayihi leitzayin eved v'shivcho shoyer v'chamoyer on, or shoyer v'chamoyer get of Mashiach. Yeah, shoyer Mashiach ben Yosef v'chamoyer chamoyer ze Mashiach ben David shenema oni v'roicha v'chamoyer. That's going. Yeah, that's a whole. That's a besonder part. We maybe mentioned that shortly. However, he says, "Vayili shor v'chamoyer tzoyin ve'eved v'shivcha." So we see that Yaakov Avinu made one of the important parts of his message to Esau to tell him he's got son. So it's put down in Mamorim from the Rabbi, B'Shem the Rabbeim, that the Indian from son is from the word tzei, to go out. It's the same basic root word, to go out. And having tzon by a Yidden doesn't mean he's got sheep. He's got that he could go to the Drei Makov. No, tzon means that you go out, you have the power to get out of yourself, to get out of the being locked up in your zich, the whole time. And me trat wegen sich, and me tut no wegen sich, to get out altogether. And if that needs Kabbalah Seil, then you have to have Kabbalah Seil. Afaroiz game for alle Sachen. To get out of all the shtuyas and all the inyonim, and live a chayim ruchnim. That's what the Rebbe says. Ole v'chayis nafsheinu nitein lanu ad tzoyin, what's by goyim, das ist eine von flocks. And that's a dova gashmi v'chumi. By Yidden, that's a Yidden that you get out of everything and you forget all the misers and the other Sachen. It's an important message. because there's all sorts of inyonim b'zmanenu zeh, say matzah, the kov and the regish, inyonim shel daiga, yitzivus v'chulu. So Chassidus demands that Apple Pekain, we have to be mishtatif b'tzar hatzibur v'chulu, or not to let us be mevalmul. Therefore, we have to go out. Tzoyin, we have to be balei tzoyin, and all the others were balei tzoyin. You have to be able to get out of all the inyanim b'derech kabbalah seila filah. Just throw yourself into it and forget it.
So it also represents bittul, Rabbi Gafne. So the sheep are totally bittul to their master. Whatever the master said they do it. So we too, we are bittul to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Right. It's exact knowledge of soul. We've got
to get out of everything. That's the Indian. Nicht allemal, not always. We have to listen to the call of the Baal HaTavai. Now, once again, on Chas Shalom, you have to listen to your rabbis, and that's another matter. But not always. If the rabbis listen, you shouldn't go to that shiur. Maybe you should stay home and be more balabatis, So if it's a serious situation, then you have to ask a mashpia, or you have to ask yourself where you're really holding. Or at least always you have to listen to that. And you have to say, no, I got a shiur now, tain, I got to get out of all my mises, and I got to go out for derech kabbalah seil, and I got to go to the shiur.
I wanted you to marchiv on the union of the tzorach v'simcha, the gaber on the chumriyos, the three things that the Rabbi, the schos that the Alter Rebbe said of samech v'simchasi. The Alter Rebbe said he'll arois nem and them me'geshem laruach. Samech v'simchasi, that we have Chassidus from this day, and that we're happy with that, and the Rebbe, and it was Zgala and was Mishtacher for all the Yidden. That'll help us to be through our simcha. That's what you're saying, Kovov, that will be get out of the Gashmis and go towards the Ruchnias. This is a basic problem. All our lives are working on that. It's avodah. It's avodah Hashem. The zichuch, the chomer, we call that. It's all the time. But to get out of that, you have to be sameach v'simchosi. That's He'll will take us out. That with a simcha in the Chassidus, the Alter Rebbe promises he'll take us out of the Geshem to the Ruach. That's the point you're making here.
As the Mele kommt aus lefi zeh, that the Inyan von Oyer v'chayes nafsheinu nitan lanu is that you listen to your nefesh elokis, that you live chaim ruchniya. There has to be what the Balbuska Taina, that's got to be good in Gashmias also. So that's the Derech Hamiti. And therefore, when Yaakov was talking to Esau, Mitad the Kavana Pnimias, Yaakov meant Vayili Shoer v'Chamer, he meant Moshiach. And when he said Tzoyin v'Shivcha, he meant what we were just saying, what the Harvey Yism is it. But for Esau, he meant Papashas, he had taken Tzoyin, Eved, V'Shivcha, he had all the Inyonim and Gashmias. The way to make those Inyonim come, you have B'derech HaTorah, so they come in a good way, in a way without losing them, Chas v'Shalom, or without having improper or unusual expenses, v'chulu, that things come and they remain in a good way, and they remain in the Yiddish pocket in a way that they bring the right toitoas. That's davke through the Indian for living those inyonim how they are Baruch Niyasayin. What you live in Baruch Niyasayin, they're poil the Indian b'derech mamele v'gashmis adol. And that's the Indian asimcha, that somebody who's sharui b'simcha, b'ifan amiti, or this is poil harchova. We see that when you're b'simcha, like he writes at the altar, that you're more zori, so they call you more energetic, and you're more able to move with a swiftness and carry out the wrestle in a successful way if you're b'simcha. The same thing, simcha causes archova בכל העניונים, ונגיע ללימוד התורה עצמאי, ונגיע לתפילה, וכל העניונים, besides the man is aufgelegt and he's besimcha, everything works different. Or if he lets himself, and he finds himself a heter, and he finds himself a biur, why he's different. Who wrote them all kulam? The ilu kulam hayu yodim kama hu sover, kama selo tov hayu maskimim. They would agree that he can't really be besimcha. That's a Torah's otzum. That the way to overcome all those inyonim is talking to be besimcha. And al idei what you besimcha v'mera v'etnis mayit all those inyonim and other of all the inyonim agashim become v'darchum b'chayim in a good neighbor and how do you call it, a lasting and a poil digger even a film mitzad agashim. V'mera that's the inyan of simcha b'pashtas hamusik. And then as we go higher, there's the inyan from simcha, in the inyan from tefillah, and in the inyan from hisboninus. It's brought down when they get to the hatzlocha. In hisboninus, it has to be also besimcha, yedela. V'mavur b'zeh oiseh ha-princip that if you besimcha, then the pnimis v'harchovas ha'inyan is much greater. You see the pshat and the hargosha. Betoich what you're being misbeinen, when you aufgelegt to besimcha. If I remember once I was in the Zal many years ago. I don't know, going back to the quite a few guys here that were in the Zal in the good old years, to use the expression. And in those days, I used to sort of down a little bit barichas. I used to sort of a spot there in the zone, not every day, but the days where I was able to. So I remember once an elder chassid, a lawyer Efresh B'Shmael, I won't say who it was, he came over to me and he said, listen, he said it's very good that you've done a little bit barichas, it's very good and everything. He said, oh, but it's by deal it's serious, it's very he said, ich habe gesehen, the größere Chassidim von Amal, that's what he said to me in Yiddish. I saw the big Chassidim who used to daven, and he said they used to daven. He said their davening was davke with that, they used to knip with the fingers. He said it's given mit simcha. And he said by the Chassidim that a Morish Chör die gedaven is nicht gedaven. And he called a super serious davening. That's not davening. Davening also has to be davke v'simcha. So he said that he saw one of the altar Hasidim that used to beat on the floor with his foot. Besides he was covered with his talis, and it was a tnu from simcha davke. And that's the secret to the harchova and the atzlocha. The pu'ula is one of the satamentz alein. But if he's shored with Morish Chayre, then he pushes it back. It's like water off a duck's back, to use the old expression. It runs onto the duck and then it just runs off the feathers. Of Amela, that's been a get of Vedas Hashem and Belimud Hater Seichazai, Kimuv and the Pashat. That if you're freiler, then the Indian makes much more sense, and as they say in Yiddish, it's like tzachov, much better. It's interesting. We happen to mention that pasuk from Yankov Avinu, what he sent to Esau. What he begins with Va'ili Sher v'chamoyer, and then he says Tein v'eved v'shivcha, and the Medrash says that Shoel Zemoshir ben Yosef v'chamoyer Zemoshir ben David. So if I'm not mistaken, the Rabbi said once in a sikha that means that you've got to first and foremost, the first yesod has to be as a yid lev mit Mashiach. The first thing is you have to know that the whole world is only a passage, how do you call it? And it's not just a passage in the sense, like the old Musadik idea that you're living in a passage in order to get into Olam Haba and get your good, Jew Gan Eden, which is due to you, and you're going to have, Shai Olam with the ganzen Indian. Not just Tafki because of that. No, you have to be Shori, be Indian, Hagiula, and that has to be the Yesod, Musad, von alle Inyonim. Once you got Va'ili Shoyer V'chamoyer, then you can have Tzoyin V'Eved V'Shivna. In other words, a Yid darf liegen Seder Moshiach. He has to know that das ist die Mitzvah a Yisod von alle Inyonim. Aber mehr, if the Inyan von Simcha is nogea b'kol Inyonim, then when I get to Moshiach, the Inyan von Simcha is adova hechrechi v'yoyser. And therefore in Toshin und Beis, in the winter Sichas, I don't remember exactly which Shabbos it was, but the Rabbi said, when I get to the Inyan von Moshiach, the Rebbe said that everything has been prepared. Kidduah Meforsan. Or the Rebbe said that everything has been done, and all the Avodah is Mushlam, and he brings there B'Shem the Frierdiker Rebbe, Kedacha B'Kodesh, and he always quotes the Frierdiker Rebbe, said all the kneppels have also been polished, and everything's been done. I call Mufan Lasuda. And even Adki Kakta, the Bonim is sitting around the Shulchan, waiting to take part in the Sudas Leviosim with the Rebbe to come. What's lacking? The Rebbe said he can't verstehen, he can't understand what's holding up the Etzim, his Galas B'Poel Mamish, and the Etzim meaning for Moshiach, B'Poel, Kipshute, what's holding it up? And he said the only thing that he can think, and the only thing that seems to make sense to him, is the necessity for the Inyan of Simcha. As a Muzayin, the Inyan of Simcha. Yeah, it's Muzayin. And he said that the Inyan from everything that's remained after all the hachonas have been done, everything is prepared, and everything is there, is only Kabbalah's Panei Moshiach Tzidkenu. You have to take Mashiach into your life. You have to be Makabel Mashiach. So just imagine you Makabel with a Panim Atazoyah. Yeah, and like the coronation of the king, the Kotan Toshin Gimel, the Rabbi mentions that when I get to the Rosh Hashanah is the coronation. Just imagine if all the citizens coronated the king and they were all in Marsh Chora. You know, they were all sort of walking around with long faces. So the king would say that, look, he's think the whole thing over. I tried to mock and maybe he won't be a king with all these sort of guys around. What's he needed for? But if he sees that everybody's betaklis hasimcha, and everybody's full of unbelievable happiness and zufriedenkeit was meot hamelech, then he has a cheshek after final rotzen, so you do the rotzen l'malucha v'chulu v'chulu. The Rebbe says over there you have to be b'simcha. So he says that therefore the Kabbalah's Panei Mashiach Tzidkenu is only going to work if it's b'simcha. That's the Yisod music. Vayili Shoyer v'chamoyer, and after that, B'tzoyin v'Eved v'Shivcha. It has to be the Yisod, it has to be Mashiach. And the idea that everything is Mukhan, that's also Inyan Ikari, B'teres Rebbe, Melech HaMashiach. And the Rebbe said clearly in that Sikha, and it was in Toshin Nun Beis, that the whole Inyan which is lacking in the Kabbalah's Mashiach Tzidkenu Almanas Lahabiyat the Poel Mamish and the Infant Simcha. I remember once when I first met up with you guys know that the Zal over here is called Beit Pinchos. You know, that's how Shem Reb Pinchas Zalta is all of a sudden. Yes, I was there to know him very well. I was not only there to know him, but I was there to be a friend of his very, very much. He came out to Australia before I came to it, so collecting money, like I many years later also. I went out to Australia collecting money for Ephraim Wolf over Sean. And he came, Rapinia, to Australia. And he said, Ladaitoi, that I should come to Eretz Yisrael. And after a whole lot of thinking and asking, we asked the Rebbe, and in the end the Rebbe said, yeah, Dafka, I should go to Eretz Yisrael. Even though there were svaras to go other places, and also it's a whole big, long arichet. Of their opinion, he was an amazing menagi. He was absolutely a managim b'chesed gadol, and he
Singer.
no Nigun.
Oh, Bal Nigun.
Yeah, by Siddur, they used to say to a person Zoger Nigun, say a Nigun. That was the way it was by the Siddur, Zoger Nigun. Al Chaponim is he sang a very beautiful. It's a Nigun for Zivlas Torah. And they made a big Farbrengen, like Cabo Pono, because he was quite a famous person, the Pinaltas. And he came out to Melbourne. In those days, Melbourne was a bit of a way over, how do you call it, in the other side of the desert. It was like a lost town, a ghost town. Baruch Hashem, over the years it's changed a lot. But in those days, I remember somebody came, an important visitor, so they made like a big Isvadas to be Makabel Pono. Rabbi Pliskin was Maimash was there, Rabbi was Bransky, and Oid from the big city were all there to meet him. And I remember somebody said to him, Pinya Zoga Nigan Afreilichen. Yeah, say a Nigan, a happy one. So he said the following Nigan, and he connected it with the Indian of the Geula. And it's connected with a period that you say on Simchas Torah, after Shachris, after Kriyas Torah, and after just before Musaf. Lubavitch in such a hurry to get to Musaf that everybody just sort of packs it in at the end of the whole Shachris and Musaf. It's a period, and it's Sisu v'Simcha, the Simcha Satoira and this and that. He always Gilo, a whole big poem. And you're supposed to say it's written Oimrim, and therefore it's put in the Siddur of everybody's in such a hurry to get to Musaf. I mean, they just say it quickly. So Rapinia, I remember he sang Boyfriend was there, but he started off with a whole big lead in. So the Nigan, I won't go into that now. But he just, he sang like this, and he said, Sisu v'simcha v'simcha sagyola Hine Mashiach bo. Yeah. Sisu v'simcha v'simcha sagyola Hine Mashiach bo. Hashem should help that Rosh Hashanah L'Chsidus, Rosh Hashanah L'Klolas, Kavonas, Brias, Visavas, Kolo Elamas, has to be V'Vadeh V'Simcha. And the Indian for Kabbalah's Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu is just the perfection of that whole Indian. As they Mavui in Perek Lamed Vov, the Alter Rebbe says that Tatlis, Brias, Visavas, Kolo Elamas, Ahili, Moisa Mashiach, V'Tchias HaMeisah. That's the Tachlis Amitis von der whole Geschäft. And the ganze Geschäft is nicht da. Is, what are we waiting for? If there's been a necessity for a, how do you call it, a forego, as it's called, a vorspiel, it's called in the old Polish Yiddish. Always und gesollt sein, if it's a vorspiel, is it's been long enough, as if you feel Zeit was jeden, waiting and miyachalim, aber mir soll sein, Pashtas, vayili shoyer v'chamoyer. Soll sein der Ine von Moshiach, and nachher, v'tzein v'evan Moshiach. Ein Tomer, you said you can't quite make it, you can't get into it, then tzein, go out, get away from all your inyonim, and if that needs a bit of freilich, a kabbalah soil, soll sein das euch. Beis Hashem, und wir mit noch tanzen, all dance together in the grace of Simcha, in the grace of Geula, mit der Rebbe, zusammen, and reingehen in the grace of parade or parade in the Beis HaMikdash Ashlish.
Amen.
Rabbi, what does he think of Mashiach ben Yosef? Why we Mashiach ben Yosef? We have Mashiach ben David.
That's a grace arichas was nicht reingehen in dem jetzt. It would appear, that you have to have a certain bechina, Mashiach ben Yosef, before you can come to the Shleimus. But the Rabbi said that's already been. Also Shemara.
Don't worry about those.
All right.
We'll be sick then.
I took it off my to-do list. It's on the Rebbe's list. That's all you need to know.
So you got to keep away from that. Rebbe was against that.
So they call it depression.
So you got to throw it out.
Sometimes the reason that the previous guy was
I
Mashiach.
Hey!
Back further.
Ben Zion. Ben Zion. You were in the same time. You were in the yeshiva at the same time as Dennis, no?
What is this? Gafne. What's his name?
Daniel Rosen.
Danny Rose.
Originally from South Africa. That's Daniel Rosen. You know the same time as Ben Zion.
You knew it already. I was in there when I was sick. Therapy.
Chaim. So when I get to the Simcha at the Alter Rebbe, the Simcha from the Rosh Hashanah, the Hasidus, we find that even Trolley, if we look in a careful way, and then we find even Trolley that the Inyonim are misparish al shnei Inyonim klolim, shnei kilu drochim or Inyonim klolim, one which is connected with the Elam, like we see it Achshov, and the other is connected davke with the Inyan from the Yosid Lovoi, and the Inyan from Mashiach Tzidkenu b'Korav Mamish. How do those Inyonim work? And that is, we see that always the Rabbeim referred to the Alter Rebbe, in particular the Rebbe, on so many occasions, they refer to the Alter Rebbe as the Baal al-Shulchan Aruch v'Hatanya. That the Alter Rebbe is the Baal al-Shulchan Aruch and the meaning of Tanya. And in many cases, after a certain point, the Rebbe used to refer to Tanya as Tanya Kadisha. He even taught Tanya Kadisha. And actually that expression, to call the Tanya Kadisha, well, that started in the war years, that there was a Yid in I think it was either Hungary, or I think it was an Ungarish Yid, a Yid not Shah Lubavitch, but he met up with a whole big group. He'd been a printer before the Nazis came in. He'd worked in printing. And when he met up with this whole group of Platim, amongst them were a lot of Lubavitch Chassidim. And there weren't any Sforim. In those days, a Sefer was a Yakara Metzias Mamish. Even just a Siddur or a Kleinschel Sefer was a huge Metzia. So the Chassidim were all misleading, they didn't have a Tanya. So he decided that he would put together machinery and he would put together funds and he would print up a Tanya. As a matter of fact, I have between my Sforim, I have one of these Tanyas, yeah. I'm not a curiosity keeper, you know, that's not my, I'm just interested in Sforim. If you offer me a new Sefer, I'll take it, you know. I don't necessarily go for old ones, but this is one that I did happen to get hold of. And unfortunately I don't have it at the moment, because when I moved to Tzvaz, I had to divide my Sorim into two main, huge how's it written? Yankee Avinu said, you have Vachshav Vayishi L'shtei Machanois. So I got the Machane HaSorim Sha'oli Til Tzvaz. I've got most of them, some of them in the Beis Chabad. And then there's a huge big set of my Sforim, about 60 or 70 cases of Sforim in a shul in Tel Aviv.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't had the money to pay for the transport. But Be'ez Hashem, I hope soon I'm gonna come to that Madrega and try to get them brought up. And also, in the meantime, there's been a squabble about the shul. Who is the real owner of the shul? And it seems that one guy that got really briggish because he claims with a grace of takeoff that it belongs to his family history, the shul belongs, is he built a sort of a fence or like a thing around the shul to prevent people to get in there. So if I'm going to get this for him out, it's going to take a bit of but I've been assured by a responsible member of the Hanholis, Pesach Knesset, that it'll be all right. If I really claim my Sforim, then I'll get it. Anyway, amongst those Sforim is this Tanya. So this Yid, when he printed the Tanya, he called it Tanya Kadisha. He gave it the name. He wasn't a Lubavitcher, so he called it Tanya Kadisha, and he printed it on the thing. It's written, printed on the main page, Tanya Kadisha. And so the Rabbi heard about that, the Rabbi Melech HaMashiach heard about that, and he was tremendously pleased with that. The Rabbi said that, why hadn't somebody up till now taken the ois to call Tanya Kadisha, because it's very fitting name, and therefore you'll notice that in the latter years, in many of the Farbrengens, when the Rabbi referred to Tanya, he said Tanya Kadisha. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. He used the expression Tanya Kadisha. Ad Kedei Kach, it was Moitzechain, Harebe. Al Chaponim, we see that the Alter Rebbe is referred to as Bala Shulchan Aruch or Bala Tanya. It's Ma Shnei Inyonim Ha'elu V'ma Ze Nogea L'Inyonenu V'ma Yesh L'Chasik Mizeh. So העניין הוא באופן כזה, אולי יש למה. The עניין von Shulchan Aruch, well, that is the guide of a Yid in his life, Kamoi, in other words, it's the union of Torah, outside to all the protim B'zeh Ha'olam, of Kavanah B'zeh Ha'olam, Olam Hazeh. Not Zeh Ha'olam, but Olam Hazeh. And what is Olam Hazeh? The present world, until Moshe will come. In other words, all the halachas and all the inyonim and all the pulpulim and the Gemara, very few of them are really nogeh to the Liosid Lovei, except in the Chelik Haggadtas, certain of the Haggadtas. But Ad Kedei Kach, the Gemara asks the question in one or two places, Hilchas ala Mashiach, we're talking about halachas. Halacha is going to be nogeh when Mashiach comes. It's going to be something different then altogether. So what do we need to sort of say what's going to be when Mashiach will come, b'negeh to Inu, which is negeh halacha. And so for that we see that like it's two different inyonim, Hilchas ala Mashiach. The Alter Rebbe put down what we need to keep us going, and v'oid eich. The Shulchan Aruch is a Torah, the Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe, everybody knows, who studied it, even B'Kitzonis, B'Eichamoshitchias, Aki Gedelo, knows what an amazing work it is, and how every word and every Indian is more like Chokma Amuka Vatsuma. L'mayla miged hasoga shel rov b'nei Adam. It's like the Rabbi once said that mi yodea ba'im et machshavoso from the Alter Rebbe, when they get the Shulchan Aruch. It's brought in all the places, all the Israel Chassidim and everybody. They ultimately, if they want to be Kovea, Hilchasa, Lamaisa, Lasuki, Shmaitza, Aliva de Hilchasa, it was from the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. And I feel it by the Sfadim, it's one on the Ben Ish Chai, he brings the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch quite a number of times. Oh yeah, and he writes Hagoen Rabbi Zalman. Hagoen Rabbi Zalman. That's what he calls him. The Ben Ish Chai. He used the Alter Rebbe term expression. So we see a feel by the Kehilas Asfadim, one of the chief inyonim which has a hashpur, halacha, v'maisa, kipshute, is the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. Aber mir nimmt that the Alter Rebbe stood at the head, and he was from the Amudi HaTovech, the whole union of Tviyas Halacha L'maisa, B'zeh ha'olam, Eikshu Olam Hazeh. The world as we see it now, and the world we live in now. But the whole union from Pnimis HaTorah, the whole union from Tanya, or das ist Hilchus Mashiach, das ist Tachayeh, Shaykh Leosit Lo. Therefore, the ganze union from Pnimis HaTorah is to not just to keep the world in a kosher way, Lafi Rotzen Avaya, but to bring it to its ultimate tachlis. Yeah, what is the ultimate, how do you call it, aim and tachlis at the ganze Welt? That's the union from Mashiach, like we quoted, and he says, Mufurish in Perik Lamed Vav, the Alter Rebbe, that the tachlis and the media is a kavod. וכידוע שבכל העניונים ששייכים ללימוד או להסוגה בעניין התורה יש את עצם הסוגה שמשיגים את הסוגה, יש את הכוונה שבזה. What is the pnimis hakavona? What did we mean with that? Yeah, I can understand what's being said. Or what did the shurish of that memra or of that Indian, what was the kavanah? What was meant with that? What were they aiming at? What was the pnimis to get kavanah the food? That's another Indian. That's only alidei kavanah, pnimis and giyah atzuma and mesiras nefesh that you can come to what is really the yemes kavanah. And that's what the Alter Rebbe, that's what he did with the Tanya. The Tanya indicates to us what is the emes kavanah pnimius at the ganze Geschäft. But the Eberste created the world with the ganze arichas, the ha'inyan with all the ribui ha'oilmas. Where you do a filu b'gashmius nowadays, the astronomer scientists are proving that loshen in Chassidus it's mashma that the filu oilam is gashmiyim ad ein shiur is kipshute, that there's no end to the cosmos. The cosmos doesn't take any end. It's oilam is gashmiyim mamish ad blivu kipshute. Omer lafisa kumtois that there's the oilam kamoishuhu, and then what do we want with the whole thing? Where is it all going? What's it all about? What's it the kavanah pnimius, and what is the nakuda amitis of pnimius from the nishmas ha'odam b'toy koza? Because we think about you as an odom inside the cosmos, then you are a little infinitesimal speck that is so small that you can't measure it. It's just so infinitesimally nothing. The Gabi clothes abriya, yeah, ki yadua, u'fusim v'zeh, and afu piket, and like it's brought down in the scientific books, I happen to see it, lo misman, that the fact that there's certain factors that they lead to vegetation and life on the surface of the earth. It's an amazing series of coincidences, unbelievable what they call in the books coincidences. In other words, that if it had been another, you had to call it degree further to the right or the left, there wouldn't have been able to be life. Had there been a temperature a bit higher than temperature Pliny in a certain stratosphere or something, wouldn't have been able to be life. If from them that it's all unbelievably mukhusha, the whole thing, and that's what the scientists nowadays are coming to that conclusion. And the Professor Brunner, he has pointed out on many occasions that there's no longer any place for a machlokes between science and religion, because other science is plummeting in the direction of religion. Sure. And the whole meaning of science is just like a biur on religion. And that's how it's becoming. They get this yet. And we see that these unbelievable, infinitesimal coincidences, kavyochel, that led to the Indian creation. In the middle of all that is the Odom. The mensch, and he's in the middle, he's affected by all the, and this one's up there is tired, and this one, he's right, there is tired. And there's up there, and there's up there, and there's up there, hin and the hair, and you're a little weeny infinitesimal mensch in the midst of this unbelievable cosmos, and yet the Avis is waiting for you. Tafki for you, he's waiting. And that's what the Rabbi writes in Tanya in Perik Nun Aleph. Was derech agav all the mashpiyim in Lubavitch in the old days, if a bocher came up and said he wants to learn how to serve Hashem, then they used to say, first of all, you got to know Perik Nun Aleph. That was the, and Reb Shlomo Chaim, which I remember when he was the mashpiyah, when I first came to the yeshiva, that's what he used to tell the bocher. First of all, I'm sorry, Mem Aleph, I meant Mem Aleph. No, sorry, Mem Aleph, slicha. You're right, 100%. Yeah, and scenes on the board. You probably got also told by somebody that. Yeah, in other words, you have to know Perik Mem Aleph.
Mem Aleph?
Well, yeah, Mem Aleph, yeah. It was certainly Mem Aleph, B'shvili nivra ha'olam. I said, not B'shvili nivra ha'olam means, oh yeah, it was all presented for me. Yeah, so let's get cracking, let's cash in. And so the Alter Rebbe said, no, that's not what it means. No, B'shvili nivra ha'olam means that the whole world is hanging on you. It was all created for you, that you got to come up with the goods. You got to produce it. It's a Philly plus. And the Remenli Vitebska, the Alter Rebbe's Rebbe, after the Magid, he also says, B'shvili nivra ha'olam means that you got to take responsibility for the world. This is a Remenli Vitebska, yeah. And told me, you hear, Rebbe Zayinian, what happened? Rahman and Flam, Sinishtak with the Zach, then you have to say, oh, if I would have been better, not Pliny, and not Almighty, not group of Plinies, or not somebody else, but if I would have been better, maybe it wouldn't have happened.
The Chadira of the Chablim of that, you can say, my Machshav Zoris, I shouldn't let that it can work on that.
Listen, before we have to be with Simcha.
Yeah.
You mustn't say that too much. For 1 second, you're permitted to think of that. We see from that, Remenli Vitebsky also says, B'shvili nivra, I break the up them by my chazal. B'shvili nivra ha'olam, if I would have been a bit better, ulai shemes Eloha Yaakov.
The first Rambam, the Shakul.
That's what he brings.
That doesn't harm the simcha to think like that.
Huh?
How can I be simcha if I think like that?
Oh.
So
you have to realize that Siddhar's demands of you that you be more than a mensch. A mensch is small fry.
The Rambam says the whole
just to be a mensch, that's how they call. No, heritage. This is a nicht kein mensch. You have to be a mensch doesn't time. Once you're a mensch, you have to be kol yochel.
It all depends on your
over here that you have to. The Alter Rebbe brings it at the end of Perek Lamed Dalet. Chedva tikoi v'liboy misitro do, v'bechio v'liboy misitro do. You've got to have two sides of the heart. Sometimes this way, sometimes that way. We've got to be both of them, and they're not allowed to be maval one the other. That's the whole nekuda. Nimtzah said. You're not allowed to be a mensch anymore. Or don't be not a mensch.
Especially you, yeah.
He said, Nimtzah, that little weeny infinitesimal dot in the midst of this huge cosmos, the Avis is waiting for him. The Avis is waiting for him. Adieu. He's waiting for you patiently, but he's impatient there. For what? Well, the Kodesh Baruch Hu shoyked al devorah. He's very anxious to make sure that things be done swiftly, and he wants to bring Moshiach. Yeah, very quick. Well, he sent the Alter Rebbe. First of all, he sent the Arizal, and he sent the Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai. First of all, and then before that he sent Chizkiyahu Melech, and before that he sent Dor Melech, and before that all the unbelievable Koheles and the Ramban and all the great Mekubalim, And you end up with the Baal Shem, the Rizal and the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid, and you get to the Alter Rebbe. And what's the Chilek? The Alter Rebbe took everything from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And you know the story. There was once a miser. When I was first here in Eretz Yisrael, a whole amazing miser, that there was a young man, I won't mention his name, that he was brought up with Polish, of course, in a big, and they were from the family of the Admirim in that particular thing. And he got Miskarav, this young man, to Lubavitch, and he became a big Lubavitch. He went over to Crown Heights and he lived over there. And so the brother of the Admor, he wrote a letter to the Rabbi. And he said, hey, talking that you guys pinch, you took away from our family. This guy, he's from the Chauchki Mishpacha, that he called the royal family. And how come you take him away? So the Rabbi answered him, very amazing answer. And at that time, all the Chassidim were talking about it. The Rabbi said that if you want to differ with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, yeah, amazing thing. And then the Rabbi said, the Etzeminim was Sigizitzach Tempenkel. It is Bekoach, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and unsere Rabbi. That's what the Rabbi said. The fact that he's sitting in his chair, that's what the Rabbi said. Well, the Rabbi said, if somebody comes over to that, then it's his chus, and it's his Indian. And the Rabbi said, I'm not going to interfere with it. And if you want to be choilik about it, then you should take into account that you're being choilik with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and all the ones are obeying. That's what the Rabbi wrote. And all the Chassidim were just... The Rabbi never said things like that. The Rabbi was tremendously hidden. And I remember at that time everybody just walking around, and the eyes weren't just jolting, they were permanently jolted out. All eyes were sticking out. It was just so amazing. We see from that it's not so poshut, the whole thing. That infinitesimal little dot is demanded that he has to prepare the world for Moshiach. He's got to prepare the world for the Gula Shlema. Therefore, the Chaim Vital, the Rabbeinu Chaim Vital, writes in the Hakdoma to the Sefer Shar Hakdoma, so the Arizal, and that's printed in the Eitz Chaim, in the Kuntras, Eitz Chaim, from the Rebbe Rashav. At the end is printed this whole Hakdoma from the Rabbeinu Chaim Vital. Nowadays it could be they printed at the beginning of the Sefer, so people should miss it. And the Rabbeinu Chaim Vital, he writes that he brings B'Shem Rabbi, the Rizal, that the Inif and Gilui Pnimis HaTorah, V'zmanim Elu, is Nogeya to the Inif and Tatlis Kol Ilamas, V'hu Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu. And he writes there, the Rabbeinu Chaim Vital, very sharp, it's not Kedarche B'Klal. He writes, Misha Yimna, Mishu Milimud HaTorah, Hu Moneya Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu. Limud Pnimis HaTorah, he said, if somebody will prevent somebody from learning Pnimis HaTorah, then he's being Moneya, the Bias, he's interfering with the Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu. It's a very sharp Indian, Mamisha. And what he writes over there is that Davke Alidei Limud Zeh for Gilui Chokma Zul Davke Zeh Yiyeh Esgalus Mashiach Tzidkenu. As they write the Rabbeinu Chaim Vital, it's not if it's how do you call it, a hardline Mishkachis document or something. It's from the time of Mamish, it's from the pen of the Rabbeinu Chaim Vital Asmai. But Mamel Mizeh Yoitze, that the Inif and Gilui Pnimis HaTorah, Alidei the Alter Rebbe, that he made that the property of each and every person, that everybody could approach those tremendous secrets that are mentioned by the Rabbeinu Chaim Vital B'Shem Rabbi, well, that opens up the way to Gilui HaMashiach. And to Gilui the Tachlis, what are we really out of? What is ultimately the ganze purpose of the whole creation? What's going on? What's Wilmender? And that's the two inyonim, the Bala Shulchan Aruch and the Bala Tanya. Because the Shulchan Aruch is for this world, the way we are now. And we've got to live from Yom to Yom, but we have to shrei, we want Moshiach now. And we've got to koloid, she'ein et hashinui ha'otzim, that's the way you have to live. על פי שולחנו. that's the Alter Rebbe. אבל יחד עם זה הוא כתב את ספרי תורס המשיח, וספרי גילוי פנימיוס ותכלס הכוונה בכל אלה. And if you look in this letter that I mentioned before, from Rabbi Rashav, what the Rabbi Rashav wrote to the Chassidim when he was outside Lubavitch in Tofrei Samachol, you'll see that he writes that Yutis Kislev, who gilui tachlis hakavona, hakavona pnimis bebrias v'savas kol elements. Not the same lesson that the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, but with the one is very, very sharp and clear. We see from that then that there's two amazing dimensions. And the same with dimension inside his own little infinitesimal world. There's the Indian of how it is Chai Hayom Yom, and how he has to keep all sorts of inyanim with their shaykh to the flow of Yiddishkeit in his life, even Yom Yom. And then there's inyanim that they lift him up, and they elevate him to a whole new vista and a whole new dimension. Or this is the Indian from Limud HaTorah, and then he's enu misbalbul midvorim shemisoyrim umisrakshim b'zeh ha'olam. That lifting up, and that is rachakis from the world through chassidus. Well, that's Dafki Makai in the world. Then you come back to the world in a way that you know what you're supposed to be doing, and that's what the old saying is in Yiddish. There's an old saying that a Gast kommt auf a Weil und zet a mile. A guest comes just for a short while, but he sees for miles. In other words, when you have a guest, and he asks you, does he have any advice to give? He says, yeah, look, you should do this. And he's right. Yeah, why? Because he's not involved in it. It's not his Indian. He came as a guest. And therefore he notices all sorts of things that you're the Balabait, you don't really notice that, or you don't feel the need to be Mishana, because you're the whole time in it. But if you come from the outside and look at it in an independent way, then you see everything that needs to be done. The Alter Rebbe wanted us to Tanya Kadisha. The Alter Rebbe wanted to make us guest. We had to go be Misrachik Mizeh Oilam. We had to go away into another oilam. But other Chassidim come to verstehen, what are you doing talking about Atzilas and Bria and all this sort of thing? You know, the Alter Rebbe takes you away altogether, and he lifts you into another world, so that when you come back to your Yom, you're a guest. When you're a guest, then you see what you have to do. And Mamela, you do it. Mamela, you know that the whole aim is the Gula Mitzvah Vashayim. And that's what the whole Mashiach campaign on the part of the Rebbe is nothing new. It's not a new thing, B'klal. It's just a bakosha to the whole Klal Yisrael. They should open their eyes. That's all. And therefore the Rebbe writes in Toshin and Beis, become a Mekimus, the sin of opening the eyes. And if you open your eyes, then you'll just see that it's another world. So how do you open your eyes? You have to learn Tanya, you have to learn Chassidus, you have to learn some of Vov, you have to learn Ayin Beis. Yeah, you have to learn. And you have to learn the middle of his Chassidus. And if you learn those inyonim, then you look like a guest at the world. And you say, that world? Yeah, we want Moshiach now. The Emerson world. And that's what Yidnom, Gishri, and all the generations, that there's a better and much greater union that the Eibishter meant with the creation. That's the big Jewish idea which has conquered it's conquered the whole world. It's the big Jewish idea which has conquered the whole world, is the fact that we're working towards something much better and much higher. And that working towards something much better and much higher, that's the ladder. Sulam mutzav arzav roishay megia hashamayim, tricheruf in Himmel. Go into the Himmel. Or you don't run away. You go up into the Himmel, but you come back down and go, oilim v'yordim. You go up the ladder, but you come back down. And that's the whole amazing balance of Chassidus, that the Rebbe doesn't make you an ivory tower mensch. The Alter Rebbe never took people away and locked them in an ivory tower. He takes you up into the tower, but he makes sure you come back. and by Hili Shoyer v'chamer, so sein the idea that that's the Yesod, and that's the Shiva, for Yidden, because man in Kulam, it's just a question of opening your eyes to see that, yes, holding by them. Now we're holding by, this is the time. Hashem should hold the Rabbi v'chesed, v'rachamim, v'simcha, because without simcha, the Melech Moshe, he's not going to be pleased. You'll see all the people coming here with long faces and everything, and he said, well, it's just come to the ganze Geschäft, you know. What do I need? The whole thing is, if a Melech, there's an old saying by the Chassidim, I heard it when I was in Australia, that they used to say, the Chassidim used to say, that Yehi Rotzen, that the Eivus should hold, the Moshiach shouldn't chappers or find us in the gatchkis. Gatchkis was in the old days, they used to wear long underwear, you know, big long underwear. And they used to have a special bracelet sort of thing that held up the long underwear. Then they put a shirt on, I think they had ordinary braces. That what held up the long underwear was called gatchkis. We don't want Mashiach should find us in the gatchkis. That means you haven't started it yet. You just, you're sort of wrestling with the Unterwäsche, as they call it. We want the Mashiach should find us in the middle of a Chiddush and Davna, and with the Talus over our head, we should find us out doing Mitzrayim or who knows what. Mashiach's always gefinnen, in a way that he'll be pleased. It's it was Kirai, the ganze Geschäft. Chaim. Is in Moshiach so schaffen, bei so freiliche Ihnen, bei Amitzvah, and die mitten am Maim in einem Beis, und die Richten soll sein mit Töchchen. I'm gonna hit the road. It's wonderful to see you, Rabbi Gafne. For this year, we're looking well. Stay well. And Bezrat Hashem will come up to Tzvat. I'll come up to Tzvat. Sometime.
Rabbi,
Maybe I have 3 left. Maybe mention that I have 3 left. I have 3 of these left.
3 of these left.
Yeah, maybe they want to make them tell them. What? Make an announcement.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
I heard this before.
Miami, yeah. Near Kodesh. Ready after some Miami.
Hello. Give him some.
There's a lot of them, unfortunately.
Busy. Sorry.
Don't know why.
I just gotta get it on. Gafne, the Eivishter didn't want us to be happy for Mashiach to come. He wouldn't have made the same osios as Sameach and Mashiach. He gave us
Dat we more simple.
yeah.
As a matter, we always like, as the Rabbi shows us, or in B'Kol HaSichas HaKodesh, B'Kol HaMakoymas, we try to connect try to connect the Indian with the Parshas Shavua. And Ma'atev Manoim, that happens to be Yutis Kislev, and the Indian from Medaf Leba, Medaf Zeit, which have to live with the times. And that means living with the Yoni HaParsha, the heroes, Chai HaYom Yom, and everything from the Parsha. But that's the altar of it. That was his a memory. His merits, but particularly Martim. Yossi,
Ken,
are you leaving?
no.
I mean, I'm not commanding that you do anything, but I'm just asking, are you leaving? Good. Anyway, Mazel Tov, Bruchim to you, and Shalom Aleichem. L'chera, we find a Dover Tamua in the Parsha, and with a little bit of Hishtadlus, we can connect it with Yutis Kislev. And that is that we see that the Parsha begins with a whole series of what you might call unfortunate exchanges between Yosef Tzaddik and his brothers. You know, even that Vayikanu loy echov Vayosifu lisnoi oisei v'loy yochlu dabri yeh b'sholem itoi b'sholem, and ad kedikat that Yankov Avinu is misarev ba'inyan, and he tried, like Rashi says, lo hitzias adover miliboy כדי קצת להציל את המצב של שולם בין האחים ועד כדי כך, that even though he was over Shomar Sadovo, but Rashi said he waited for it all to come true, that Pnimis Lvova, Yankov Avinu was choishish l'kol ha'chaloimas, but nonetheless he was mistadeh mitzad darach Sholem to make him a sa'inim from Sholem. And yet nonetheless the next parsha begins with the fact that the brothers went to be royas tzayin avihem b'Shechem. And so b'hemshech ha'inyan, Rashi says that Shechem in Ish Kamakol Dika place, Adikei Shechem, not such a gishmaka place, mitzad Mazal, mitzad those inyonim. So they were dafki in Shechem, and they were out in a mokim porot where people weren't around so much, v'chulu, and Afal Pi Yaakov comes up to Yosef and he says to him, L'cho eshlachecho elachecho. I'm going to send you. Hine achicho achecho roim es tzayin b'Shechem. Hine lech riyei ma shlom achicho ma shloim hatzayin v'hashiveni dovo v'hashiveni li dovo. When you think about it, that Yosef for sure knew what was the situation with his brother. And it was in a neighborhood from Snoyo, he said they were in English from Hepech Ha'ava, and it was in a neighborhood from Lo Yochlu, Dabri, L'Sholem, is if they're out in an open place and it's a mocking porous, it's a place for tzoyin, v'chulu. It's a sakona to go there. Yeah. Afila, afila is not a sakona gluya. Although El Choporim has the lesson of the Gemara, lamecha shmihu bari. It should at least take into account that something is not so glatik out there. So on the one hand, the pshitas and the tmimus of Yosef HaTzadik, what he says, hineni, and the hineni was, or Terem Yaakov Avinu said to him exactly what was involved, and then after he said what was involved, Yosef Atzadik wasn't moicher on the inim from the Hineni. What Hineni, Rashi says, it wasn't reasons, yeah, here I am, yeah, you sent me, you know, I'm the man. You name it, I got it. Is l'choyle, dva pele, on a fila, we'll try to go with the shita that by saying l'cho be'eshlach l'cho, Yankov Avinu made him a shliach, and he made him a shliach l'dvar mitzvah, and then he said v'hashiveini dover, he made him a shliach to come back also. So then we'll scatter up the shaila from shliach l'chazorah, with a shluchim mitzvah. Einam nizokim is gam b'halichosam v'gam b'chazirosam. It zieht us as a zayt nicht a zay. But since Yankov Avinu made him a shliach also to come back, that part of it goes down. But the Gemara says in Masechet Pesachim clearly that if you make a shliach and you send him to a mogim where there's shchicho hezekah, that the hezek there is very common, it's very likely to be, then there's no cloud from shluchim mitzvah einam nizok. As they sagt the Tana b'shem plimoy, as they sagt there. So come to Isla that when you send somebody to a place where the danger and the sakona is very present, it's very ongoing, and it's strong, chashash, then we don't say shluchim mitzvah einam nizoki. So the child is, what was Yaakov Avinu? What did he help by saying "Lech no ve'eslach acho"? Yeah, the inim from shlichas by his man. What l'choyer the matzah with the brothers was a inim from shchicha zeicha. L'choyer, it was pretty clear that they were, you know, they were up to, or they would use the opportunity for Efes ha'inyan bilti takin kolka. And also mitzad Yosef, you know, the Yosef should have tied it, and he should have said, "Listen, Abba, I'm always ready to do anything you say, but shouldn't we take into account that this is mi yodea ma yivolid mi hamatzav hazeh?" You know, he knew what the sinner was better than anybody, and he knew that lo yochlu l'dabri l'sholim v'tekantzelinim. So. The Erecham Kodesh Asa, he tries to answer that maybe Yaakov Avinu didn't agree with the Tana B'Shem Plimoy, that he says the different Shchicha Hezekah, the Ein Teklaus. Maybe Yaakov Avinu had another shitta in Shluchim Mitzvah Einam Nizokim, and that's based on the fact that the Gemara brings a raya from Shaul HaMelech with Shmuel. And when Hashem said to Shmuel that you should go and anoint David as a king, even man that Shaul was still on the throne, then Shmuel said that Shema Eilech Yishma Shaul v'Yehorgeni. He said, how can I go? And Shaul HaMelech was kind of sure if we hear about it. Yeah, even for anointing another king, boy was man that he's king, and particularly Shmuel Hanovi, tell it right under his nose. Then Shema Yehogeni. Amir said the Orachaim Kodesh, maybe Yaakov Avinu felt that was a very extreme case. Over the case of the son, it was only a suffix. It was only a suffix what they might do, or how they would do it. The suffix Shema Yehogenu was an adkitikak boiler. Amir Shmuel and Yaakov Avinu learned pshat that in such a case as that, you can disagree with according to the Rabbanan, that maybe ad kedikach we don't have to be choishes, and shluchim mitzvah einam nizochim would hold. It would be in this case okay. But after became this is a inyan which is now my bedakis asforas, or bepashtus inyan. The Yaakov Avinu knew very good what was the whole. He was taken kol hashlichas. What kilo is the Indian? Easy Indian hechreki ad kei kach. Yaakov Avinu says you have to go and find out what's happening. Boivus man, everybody knew the attitude of the brothers. So therefore, what we could suggest is that both Yosef and Yaakov, they had Efes approaches to the Indian, which is Mare al Inyonim Rukniim Gevoyim Noi. And Li'oyer Tachlis Hanirta that Yaakov had in sending Yosef, then B'mei Nechshov, all the Indian, maybe it's a Sophic, maybe there might be breakers, maybe there won't be breakers. Yaakov Avinu was of the opinion of what seemed that the tremendous light of the shlichus that he put into Yosef, and he was hoping to achieve for the whole shlichus, they would not be oimed al katan samochen kol kach v'breges v'kas v'chulu lo'er goydel ha'inin. And Yosef, being he also very similar to Yaakov Avinu, ben zakunim hu loi. And not only that, he was also an neshama datzilas kiyudua, just like Yaakov Avinu. Another Rabbi was eating from Sfiras HaYisoid v'chulu. And the Far Yosef also saw that there was some very tremendous kavanah of his father here, and he also felt that that was a dova ad kedi kach choshu, the man next of all the the bregas and the cars and all the inyonim, that would probably be like Yeshba Mosai Mona, that would be Niklal in the greatness of the Shlichus. So as the Salt Shana, what's the greatness of the Shlichus he came? What was Yaakov Avinu aiming for? At the farm, I want to suggest to you guys a gang, how do you call it, an idea. And what is the idea? That the first big Meshachist in history was Yaakov Avinu. And what do I mean by that? My name is Kevin Bezer. So we see it by all of our Ovis, by Avram, by Yitzchak, and Befrat by Yaakov. We see that they were not satisfied with the world Kamoshu. Their whole shiva was to a much better and incomparably greater world. The Yaakov Avinu, he went around with Mesiras Nefesh. Nimrod wants to throw him into a prison. Somebody else throws him into at the beginning, and then later he wants to throw him into a Kivshin Ha'esh. First it was a prison, then later a Kivshin Ha'esh, Mitiala Zachem. What's the big, what's the big sinner? What's the grace of Geschäft? A thoughtful person going around telling people good things. Was it Nimrod of a Zephyr? Did he have to throw him into a Kivshin Ha'esh? No words. Nimrod, he was, how do you call it, an Elam Hazer, and his whole union was if as will sit there and you happen to be in a position where you can get it, then you have to get it at any price. And if anybody steps in your way, too bad. And Godel, Ubezair, Anpin, that's the shitter of, unfortunately, a lot of different members of the human race. Let's put it that way. As they halten that you came into the world, you have to do what's your Geschäft, and your Geschäft is built on titles, Kolminei, and needs, and all sorts of inyonim. But if somebody gets in your way, he has to be politely made to understand that he shouldn't do that. He shouldn't step into your territory. I saw a most amazing little thing this morning. I have Hashem in Tzfas, I have outside my side door, I have a whole sort of big area there, and cats, we have about 4 or 5 cats that they come there, and they're very, sort of kosher. All of them, sorry. I sort of feed them, I have a rachmanis, and I take, little bits of the suda and then I give them. So I got up this morning and I went out and I gave them a bit of food. An amazing thing happened. There was another cat that was sitting over the side and he was watching. He looked to me like a male cat, if I understand these, He was a bit of a sort of a tough nut. And he was sitting, I've never seen him before. But these cats that I feed, I've seen them. I know who they are. I know who they are. Yeah. So, Kilo, they have a chazaka. Yeah, they have a chazaka. So it's the most amazing thing. I give him down the food, and he sort of watching. And after all, he can't, avoid it. And he comes over and he stands right alongside the plate, and he puts his nose and he starts taking also from the plate. Now, between one another, they don't mind that. They don't push one another. Whoever gets what, gets. And they're perfectly happy one with the other. Oh, but this guy came over and he pushed his nose to the plate, and one of the other cats had looked at him, sized him up and went like that with his paw. And he said, "This is Al Chazaka, you clear out." This is Al Chazaka, you clear out. And he made it so clear, he measured him off with his paw and he went, you clear out. So instead of saying, "Oh, you're getting tough with me, I'll get really tough," he backed off. And he said, "Oh," and he backed off and he waited a long time. And then he came up again. He thought he would try again. Maybe he would like Kasum Shokota. And then the same thing happened. The other cat walks up and shoot. Makes him done with his paw of a very mechuvende. I just stood in my eyes, very taken by the whole thing. Even by cats. There's a moral law, that's our chazaka. What are you mixing in? What's Mr. Charan? There's a certain law of the jungle, even by the Rabbi spoke about it. The famous sequel, the Rabbi spoke about the law of the jungle. Came along Avramov and he said, "I'm sorry, listen, this is the way the world's made. First of all, we have to ask, what does he say? And who's he? The boy recalled the Yoitzer HaKol. And the boy recalled, we have to ask him. Think to say, how do you call it, a washing machine, something goes wrong with the washing machine. Who do you ask? You call in your neighbor and ask him to help. The next thing you have 2 washing machines that are broken. Because he doesn't know how it's supposed to work. He doesn't know what are the klalim shelafi zeh oved. Whoever made it, the one who made the washing machine, if you ask him, he'll tell you exactly how it's going to work, because he knows what klalim govern the situation of the washing machine. You want to know how to act. You want to know what are the laws. You want to know what is moral and what is not. And what do you have to say to the other person? Here's a kind of clear out, or you let him in and you live ba'atis with him, or v'chulu. What are the laws? You have to know what he says. And that Nimrod, that for Nimrod is picked to say that you would put a red rag in the hands of a bull. In other words, that Nimrod can't stand that. Avraham Avinu had to go. He can't take the existence of a mensch was haltazay. And Yitzchak was a further gilui, we call it Yonim. And that's the yesod of Torah Shel Shem Va'eber. And the ganze Inyan von der Yeshiva, und wir müssen noch fragen, und einklären, und lernen, und erst fragen bei Neviim, oder Anashim, שיש להם ידיעה עמוקה, אולי ידיעה אלוקית בעניין זה, כדי מסור wissen, was darf man tun? What is the Ike? What's the Dera, was man soll führen? Aber mir, that was the Shitta of Avram Yitzchak. And Yankov Avinu is not mehr. Yankov Avinu gesagt, not only we have to know wie man das führen, no, we have to know what is the Tachlis, what is the ultimate story von der ganzen Linien, and we have to build the world in such a way, and we soll zukommen zu the Tachlis. And the Tachlis is by Yehili Shoyer v'Chamoy. Like we said before, the erste Sache is that we have to know that the world is not meant to remain the way it is now. The world is meant to come to a shleimus and a tachlis, a nilze, wo das ist die Linie von Gula Shleimus. But Mele Yankov Avinu hat gekocht his whole life in their meaning. And therefore, the Ike Inyan von Matan Torah, the Yichud, which led to Matan Torah, was only the Yankov. Even though that Yichud was begun by Avram Avinu, but the Ike closing of the ganze deal, but again to that Yichud, was Yankov Avinu. And therefore, we Yocham Eidos, but Yankov was Seirah Son, be Yisrael. Yisrael, this is the Shem HaMayla from Yankov Avinu. But Yankov Avinu He works to bring the world to its ultimate perfection. Yeah, therefore, when he was by Beis Loven, it's written in Iron Base. We learned about it way back when we started with the Iron Base on Megillah from there. And the Rebbe writes over there in the Iron Base that Yankov Avinu with Tzoyin Lovon and with all the he wasn't just messing around with a few Shepselach. Yeah, he was playing with the cards of the whole world and the ganze universe. That he was building Yehudim al Yonim Shelafi Zeh Yeh Gilu Elokus Boilam. But Gilu Elokus Boilam, not just in the way that people would wake up to themselves, but Gilu Elokus Boilam Boilam Gazeh, that the whole world would reach Tachlis HaShlema. And therefore, all the Hamshachas that he made, the Rebbe Rashab says that he came away from Beis Lovan in a way that the world was ready. It was ready to be Mekabel, the Gilui, Shanachno Omrim, Shehu, the Gili Delios. As he stated. He came, and why did he send messengers to Esau? Because he thought that Esau used those 22 years for some sort of teilus. He was had he called an optimist. Yaakov, he had getracht wegen Yerim gut. Well, he always thought good about Yerim. Until he had ever so riot that Yerim's nicht picked. Yeah, with the expectations, he unfortunately would change his mind. He looked at everybody that they think like he does. They're working also for the Teva Sa'ilam Ha'amiti. He thought that Esau would sit for 22 years, a long time. Therefore he sent Malachim, Emerson Malachim, but they helped him out. And they were ready to be Messiah, because maybe Esau, whatever Sukiton. And maybe there's been a Shinui, Mitzad Esau, and we can get together and we can bring the Gula Shlema. That's to say, the world of perfection that Yaakov Avinu foresaw. That there would be Gila Elakus Lamata, Kamei Lamayla. And that the Nivroim Shebezeh Ho'ilam would be Kalim Legila Elakus Mam. That was Yaakov Avinu. That's the diuk of the Loshen by Yili Shorcha V'Chamei Canal. But Lefi Zeh, come to us that Yaakov Avinu got a tremendous shock when the Malachim came and said all that Esau was done. He sat on the couch and puffed cigars the whole 22 years. That's all he's done.
Puff cigars.
There's nothing to hope for. So Yaakov Avinu was a Tebrochen Amen. Yaakov Avinu had gehört mit Amor, the Hebrew of his whole She'iva, as he was as a corpse, under a picture, and Kedei to come to that Shleimus, which he's already been poiled with Tzidoi. He's going to have to wait a long time. He's going to have to be a Inif and avoid some Birurim, Lashitas Arizal with the guns. He saw a huge, long, that he called Matanish. And that's what he said. V'aniyes na'ala le'iti. Yeah, le'iti means slow. It's going to take time. And le'iti is lamates with the aleph. Lamates malachas. Malachas are Inif and Biru. And he's going to have to bring the aleph into malachas. It's going to be a schwere stickel Arbeit. As they say in Yiddish, a difficult piece of work. But Yaakov Avinu doesn't, he was a Emerson, had he called. Action Yaakov Avinu, and he didn't lose off as they gering. All of a sudden he saw he's got a Ben Zakunim, a Bar Chachim. Yeah, the Targum says, Ben Zakunim, Bar Chachim. He sees he got a son of Yosef, and he had verstanden that Jesus and Nishoma da Atzilas, and he's Ma, Shema, and he's Yisod Dema, and all of the Sachen. Wow, we can use Yosef for Tzadik out, and through him, we can actually come into their meaning. But let's forget about Esau. Let's write him off. Esau had been time Nishtagen everyone. And the world will elevate, either Esau will join in or he'll fall away, and that's not going to be anybody's big problem. But he decided that he's going to send Yosef on a special slichas to the Shvatim, and take into account that the Shvatim are not gewöhnliche Menschen. the Shvatim are the Shöres, are the ganze jüdische Volk, aber mehr, they're the Am HaMiti, they're the Koyach HaMiti, so which the whole world will follow suit. If he can poil sein in their minion, what do you want to be poil? It's a pelletige Sache. The Avodah, the Shvatim is put on Torah, this week's Parsha, Hine Anachnu Me'almim Alumim B'Toich HaSadeh. That therein was the Birah Milmata L'Mayla. That's the Birah of Shem Ban. Now, Chagas to Oilam is Biyah, their Birah is a Birah Milmata L'Mayla. Omomera Yosef's Indian, but again, Lahem al Derech HaRogil, that he comes down and helps them bring up the Birurim, Mamish to be Yachid Nitzutze, a Birurim Mitelakus. Yaakov Avinu said, that's wonderful, but I got a better idea. Let's go higher than the Birurim Regilim, and we'll just reveal an unbelievably Oyer Yoko, and Oyer Godel V'Otzum, Shalamayla Mikolo Ilamas, and Mayla Mikolo Inyonim, and it'll be such an amazing oil that everything will just rise up. Everything will just rise up and be Niklo in there. And you won't have to go down and busy yourself with being Malad, because that's not going to be the avoidance. It's just going to be an avoid of slapping and elevating the whole world. And Yaakov Avinu, he had the power to make such an oil. He had the power to make it, and he says, Lech no shalachacho, yeah, I'm going to send you, that's your V'hashiveni dovo, bring me back a message, who the halter, idas mitzlir tzinis. He wanted to bring the Matthias Moshiach, and it's written in the mind from the Rebbe Rashab in Tov Reish Ayin Aleph, in Parsha Vayesh, it's not the Rebbe Rashab, it's not clear that Yaakov Avinu wanted to send Azar Oyer me'ein de liyosid lovi. Im lo ha'oyer shel liyosid lovi mamish, shekol birurim yuchlu b'toich zeh. V'ma zeh nikra biru b'derech manucha. Oh, but it doesn't mean biru b'derech manucha in the sense you just sit on the couch and puff a cigar. Nishtazeh. What it means is that you do everything of a healthcare of as they feel that all you have to do is start the thing off, and then it all goes milmayla lamata. Now let's face the fact that mitzadei tam hayidulu, the Eibusha for some reason at that stage didn't want that everything should be milmayla lamata. He wanted zalzayin a shein of portoys and yo. There were people going to have to struggle milmayla lamata. Lama and anything. Anyway, it's not as bad as it sounds. All of a sudden, the Eivish Tamach, Alter Rebbe Otevel. Rebbe Shnei of Zalman Miliati. Machta Zalman Otevel. What does he say? Oh, Yaakov Avinu is correct. What we want to bring Moshiach, let's get moving. We got to make Azar in Torah, that everybody will be poil through limited Torah, so previous Torah, they'll be poil and biru b'derech manucha. And if you think I'm not right, look in almost all of my morim from the Rabbi, when they get to the Avedis HaBirurim, Achrei Gilui Teros Achsidus, he says the whole biru is b'derech manucha.
Baruch Shalom.
Yeah.
B'derech manucha.
And nicht manucha that you sit on a couch and puff a cigar.
Derech manucha.
Nicht das also, you know, without your boots on and the whole thing. And you puff a cigar. Nicht das so. No, you do everything in Azam even that you are zoiche to see the Aliyah Shabbatova, and you live in the Aliyah Shabbatova. Not that you're struggling the whole time and somebody has to put down a hand and help you pull you up, if you're lucky. But you see, and you're zoiche to see Alidei Alimud v'Avodah Shulcha, אתה רואה שהכל אוהל ונכלל בתוך האל של יוסד לובה. And those are the Eden from Teres Achsidus. Teres Achsidus is the Bira B'derech Manucha. And B'mera Kol Erev V'echor. Yeah, B'chayo, he sees it. If you start learning Chassidus and you start getting into Inyon Chassidus, you see the ganze Seder, it feels anders. It goes a different sort of life. Things start elevating themselves and helping themselves, and you see as Proti is, much more than what you did. All sorts of inyonim, what they are mistader, or how would I say, they're misali, they elevate themselves in a way that they're going up, beter menucha, betoich ha'oyer hagora. Therefore the Alter Rebbe, he's Yaakov Avinu. And the far, if you look in Tani Perik, in Geras HaKodesh, the second letter in the Geras HaKodesh is Kosovo, Acharei Biyosef mi Petersburg. He wrote it after he came out from the prison, Katointi mikol ha'chsodim mikol ha'emes. But the Alter Rebbe writes it off himself. Who said that? Yaakov. The Alter Rebbe sagt auf sich alleine mit der ganze Hezber, and he said, "Velochein nidme Yaakov Avinu nidme loy ki'ilu choto v'chol izmaz with the ganze von LP Yaakov Avinu." He writes it, but he gets sich allein, and therefore he tells all the Chassidim not to make a fuss. Yeah, in other words, if you learn Pnimis HaTorah Eik Shani Omer, then you don't have to worry about them. It's not let them do as they daven, as they daven nicht on, or let them do what they do. And don't fight with them, don't worry about them, and don't be mutrad mehem beklaut. Verwoesje, waar du lebst in een andere wereld, du bist in de wereld van Mashiach. Du bist in een hechere wereld, but everything just goes up a door of moment. Omemele eindelijk alle jod mutrad, mi ploini ve'almein. Ve'afile, jees loima, she'ein li jois mutrad, afile van die eigene zaken, what cause of ons nefesh. And they cause almost nefesh in a way that the fork goes in and twists, and it's tut weh. It mamish hurts. Yeah, after became, je darf zijn hecher van dem. Maar daarvoor hoeft geen andere wereld, wo dat zal niet meer wahlbar zijn. Even though it's tut weh, aber men neemt nicht, das ist nicht keine manier, it's not an inen that will prevent or stand in your way. Du das ton, zoin, Shloim achecha v'shloim atoin. You have to go out. You have to get out from all the inyonim. Afilu b'ter kabbalah and forget them, and leave them behind, and build the oil that the Alter Rebbe wants us to build. Or the Alter Rebbe from unser dörf. The Rebbe said it's all been built. It's all been done. The oil is already there. That oil, all you got to do is just be part of it. You can't, du bist a schlepper, a bissl of this, the Rebbe says, open your eyes. Now exactly what that means, you know, lo dually bereges evetachlis abira, but I think what he means is you just got to learn Torah Chassidus, the idea brewer, das ist die Ohr von Liosid Loven, nicht mehr ein Liosid Loven, das ist die Ohr von Liosid Loven. But if you learn what Chassidus tells you, and you try to look at the world, then you look differently. You see legamri mashachet, and you see that it's another world, and you see that the Rebbe is involved in the world. Pink does he before Gimel. He's involved in pink does he all. And let's take a look at what's happening. Look at all the masses that happen now with the unbelievable, crazy memshalim. I mean, even when it's a memshala, it's mamish ke'ayin. It's not. But now it's not there. Now it's mamish ayin, not ke'ayin, but it's ayin. Yeah, it's all just a rogi phone.
The bluff.
The imika and the fila, fabuish. Yeah, because they don't listen to the Rebbe. And they interfered with me or Yehudi, and so they dress it up in all sorts of levushim and dressmakers and meisers and geschäften. Over the Nakuda is me Yehudi. And the Rebbe said anybody was with a chapin with me Yehudi can't hold up Malchus Yisrael. The Rebbe just showed him many times. So we see that who's running the show? The Rebbe. The Rebbe feels on pink as if you argue with him. But all Yesa, ein Lachshoish, klar. V'adarabba, Yesh Yisoided, V'yesh B'koyach, V'simcha, or B'yesa Seis, B'yesa Oz. Kein Yesh Loim of Derech Hashem. People might say, well, listen, he's getting a bit old, this Gafne, he's still, overshooting and hitting there. I'm perfectly all right. I'm not even sick yet. I'm perfectly all right. And what I'm saying, I really mean, we darf sein Zoin, we darf rausgehen von alle Unionen, and you have to hold by the Unionen Alaf, that you might have certain things in the kishes was drained. Don't worry about it, forget about it, go up into the oil, and then you'll see that that's the oil from the Yosifov. That's the oil from the Alter Rebbe, and the Alter Rebbe says, Katointi Mikola Chasodim. We don't know what's the Chasodim. We don't know, we weißen gar nicht. Aber it could be that that's the höchste Chasodim was we kennen. We don't know what we weißen, and that's Perikobol. Anderen Leute, ja, der Fall, Katointi Mikola Sodim Mikola Emes. The Alter Rebbe just came for 53 days in a prison, Azam Matzah, Ben Adam nicht gewohnt sind. Viele, the Ben Adam became Shovel or Mushbal. You wouldn't wish Azam Mitzotah. And after the Alter Rebbe came out, he called, Yafutzu Mayin Socha Chutza. But the Rebbe Rashab says that Yafutzu Mayin Socha begins from Petrograd. Because the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid came to visit the Alter Rebbe, and they gave him the okay, and they gave him the zrizas, the shtup, to use an expression, that he's got to go ahead, Adarabah. And you know the story with the Rebbe Rashab, that the Rebbe Rashab sent the Rebbe Rayat to the room, to the cell where the Alter Rebbe was, and when he came back, he asked the Rebbe Rayat, the Rebbe Rashab asked the Rebbe Rayat, is there enough room in that cell for 3 people to stand? It was a very small cell. It was a soldier confinement place, it's very small, and so the Rebbe Rashab asked the Friedrich Rebbe, is there enough room for 3 people to stand in there? So the Friedrich Rebbe couldn't, at the beginning he didn't understand, what was the question. So he thought very carefully, and he said, yeah, but maybe, Mamish, but a push 3 people could stand in there. So the Rebbe said, oh, good, that's good. That was it. He didn't quite understand. Then later, all of a sudden, he had a lightning flash, he called a boom. Why did his father ask that? Because he wanted to know if the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid came begufim. And therefore there's 3 people in the cell. They're the Alter Rebbe and the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid. You have to know if there's room in the cell for 3 gufim. It's in Yonin Nifloim. Guys, we're going to be Sisa V'Simcha V'Simcha Sagiula. And it's like that Chossi told me, the Chassidim used to, when they used to daven or when they used to do anything, Freile, boom. Nicht mit Morish Chere, ich sage Rahman Safmir, but Abu became, you see, I'm a fine guy, Nicht to say, Chatchila B'Simcha, that's Freile. Yasameach HaLetzim Chatchila. Let's all join together in the seas of the Simcha Sagiula, the Pearl Mammon, and we'll meet up with the Rebbe, and we'll all be together, always taking me out of Yerushalayim, Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, and the Demos V'Tayin Emes Simcha Soilom.
Amen.
Rav Gafne, special Chaim. The Bachra Tonim Levi Yitzchak Ben Reisel from our 4th Shrem attacked me at Mount.
You mean the Bachra? Here is a lot better. That's what my wife told me when I was leaving the house, that she saw on the thing that he's Eno Bishum Sakona.
I saw his father tonight.
He's just got to be mitrapeh.
Yeah, he's fine. He's much better now.
Hi, Rohan.
We have two new granddaughters. Two new granddaughters.
Mazel tov, mazel tov.
I said to you, if you want to go, you're knocking them down quick. Wonderful, wonderful. Mazel tov, Vincent. Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Gafne, you must be a Ben Zion. You must be a Zayda come up here. So listen, guys, the time's already not on our side. We got to go back to the Kodesh Twas, and everybody's got what he's got to do. So I want to just have a short word about a certain Indian. That is that we've mentioned it before, but just recently in Svaz, a few people have said to me, listen, Gafne, why don't you write some memoirs, or why don't you put something down on paper, or why don't you do this, why don't you do that? So the truth is that I have a young man up there that he's approached me that he would like to sit down with me every now and then, and we should talk about the remembrance of things past. He used the expression. And he said he doesn't want money. He said that's the fact that he will hear all this. That's his paper. That's what he told me. But he doesn't write in English. He can only write in Hebrew. So the mila that I see in him is that we get on extremely well. We have a very good kesher together. And he would do it with the ganze, that he could, the ganze pnimis and the ganze geschmack. And just the other night we finished a Farbrengen, a small Farbrengen, in a place called Begin over there. But I learned a bit of Tanya with a few guys over there. After I've already taught in Yosef's Koil, but the reason I do it is that there's one or two guys that they really want to learn. They really want to hear, and so it's almost impossible to refuse. When they say that they want to learn. So I usually come home with my eyes, dropping out, and I hope she can. There's one of these fellows that he. However, there's another approach to the whole union, and that is that people from inside our group should maybe put a little bit on paper with their memoirs, it's called, what they lived with. So there's been David David Leiser has undertook Pashas such a union, and he's written a thing, and it's a really it's a very special piece of work. The fact that he talks about me in an exaggerated way and everything, that's another problem. But in a way, it's not. I mean, I'll say quite honestly, it is, but it's not. It's got a certain geschmack, good intentive emes to it. And where somebody means emes, even though he might exaggerate slightly, but he remains with the emes. He doesn't get away from the basic nukuda. I phoned up the other night. You guys, I'm sure that you fellows remember Yecheskel Yofi.
Yeah.
So I'm very close with Yecheskel. And something just said to me, I came on from that year in the Tanya, and I just was so exhausted. But I lifted up a receiver, and I dialed the number, and I got him. In 2 minutes, he lifted up the phone, Yechezkel, and I spoke with him. And he said that he has seen David, but I don't think that David remembers Yechezkel.
It was before my time.
Yeah, he was before your time. And Yechezkel said that he got a copy of this, and he's read it, and he said he doesn't, not only he's read it, but every now and then he reads a part of it to remind himself again that he's got to read it. And he said he just keeps reading it the whole time. And he said he goes through it once and he goes back to the beginning, he reads it again. Not all at one time. He said, he does it every now and then when he has a few minutes.
He lives in England?
And he said it's a...
Where does he live, in England?
Mhm.
Crown Heights.
Yeah. He lives in Crown Heights, Yechezkel. And I think everybody knows Yechezkel. When I say everybody, a lot of people know. Do you remember Yechezkel, Yankov? No, you don't.
I know him. I came to him first when I came to Crown Heights.
Yeah, but you know him from Crown Heights.
Sure.
But I'm talking about from the yeshiva. A whole amazing story how he came to the yeshiva through the Amshon of a Rabbi in Jerusalem to be sick. Oh, amazing. And I went there to bring him. A whole amazing thing, yeah. And the Amshon of a Rabbi, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, he told me that I must go and talk with him first before I bring him, because it has to first of all be like a kesher first, and then he'll come to the yeshiva. Here's the whole thing. Huh? So I went round to the room, and he'd had a fall, and he was on crutches at that time. And you remember when he came to the yeshiva, he was on crutches. So I went round to his room, and I knocked on the door, nobody answered. So I thought, okay, no, don't answer. It didn't do any business. So I knock again, also no answer. I decided I'm going to leave it. He said to me, I have to talk to him, I tried. So the next thing is, I hear the door open, door. I see a little Yechezkel standing there on these crutches, and his hands are all dripping with water because he's made negawasa. I woke him up. He was in the middle of a shlof, and he said, "Do I know you?" So I said, "No, listen, I'm very sorry you don't know me, but I was told by the rabbi of this area that I should come and speak with you." He said, "Who are you?" So I introduced myself. So he said, "Listen, I'm on crutches because I've broken my ankle." He said, I'm in the middle of a very badly needed sleep, and you've woken me up. He said, let's do it, Bekitza, So I said, look, I'm mitzuveh that I've got to talk with you a few words. He said, okay, let's talk. So we spoke and everything, and we became, bosom friends. How do you call it?
Bosom buddies.
They developed a tremendous kesher between us. So when I was coming back, going through the building on my way out, this Amshon, he heard that I was going through the building. He sent one of his Meshosim to ask me, had I met him and had I spoken with him? And what did we speak about? He wanted to know the whole thing. And then I sent this guy back to him, and he sent him out again, and he said, it was good, what was given, he's going to be a Sheina Lubavitcher. That's what the Amshon said. He said, he's going to be a Sheina Lubavitcher. And he's going out, and Yechezkel learns every day some iron base, but Iyun. He learns with the shiur with Rabbi Paltil, I don't know what it is. He gives a shiur in English now, in Crown Heights, in the Iron Base. His choice Talmud is Yechezkel. Yechezkel never misses a shiur, and he's the first one there, and he's the one that writes all the notes and asks all the kashas, Yechezkel. Yeah. So he told me that he really finds a gishmach in what David did. Yeah. So once again, I'm not, and he doesn't even know David, and he doesn't know from that period of the time that David was. So we see what if you do something with a gefühl, and that's what the Baal Shem Tov wanted. He wanted that we should do everything with Ahava V'yira. We know what Ahava V'yira is. He wanted we should do it with a gefühl, so with emotional koch. And that's what you call Ahava, es soll sein Ahava. You call it Chimo, es soll sein Chimo. Es soll sein Techilo. Aber der Rieche soll sein mit der Hand, mit der Regisch. Allein. Well, somebody did it with a regular shalev, it finds favor. It doesn't matter what it is. And what we could eventually do, if I can be clear to get a bit of my stuff together, and we can sort of join rolling together, maybe we can make one book or two books, who knows? Because you should realize that the Rabbi founded the yeshiva, and the Eden of the yeshiva is the Rebbe's Eden. It has to, and it does, live on. And the far, when the Moshe Matthias is falling asleep, for us, because he Farbrengen the whole night, and he hadn't quiet. And after it became, he said, I want to come over. So I told him, you should look after your health, maybe don't come. And he didn't, he said, no, I'm coming. Because he knew that we're all going to be together. We're all going to meet together. And the diburim that we speak come mitzad zeh. It's not that, we meet up and say, we're going to say something. So Gafne holds forth for a few hours and he's not to say. It comes from the fact that we meet together. I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I was contract what I'm going to talk about. When I meet up with people, I once traveled with Rav Landa, he told me a very important thing. I took Rav Landa to a place where he had to make a speech. And I said to him, would the Rav mind telling me what he's going to say? And we were right close, not far from He said, Glaub mir, ich weiß nicht. He said, I don't know what I'm going to say. So I said, he said, yeah. He said, when he calls aufstehen, when I stand up in front of the people, he said, was es wird sich reden, wird sich reden. Whatever will talk itself, that will talk itself. That's an amazing thing. And I was driving the car, we were right near to the building where he was going to have to go and make the speech. He said he doesn't have the faintest idea what he's going to say. When he meets the people, when he stands in front of them, then he'll know what he's going to say. Yeah. Well, the same thing here. The fact that we come together, that produces it. That's what makes the Indian, that's what brings the Indian out to Golok. That's a good of what David did. I'm not trying to sell, David's school. If anybody can't afford it or he's not able, he doesn't want it, gesundheit. I'm just saying that the Indian is an amazing Indian, and it's the beginning, like an embryonic beginning, of what could lead to quite a document, which could be a sort of a historical document. Ladati. And the young man stopped me in Tzfaz. I gave a Farbrengen on, when was it? Rosh Chodesh Kislev. They asked me to Farbrengen inside the Kiryat. So towards the end of the Farbrengen, I started telling them some stories here and there. Mostly about my experiences with the Rabbi and the Yechidas and things like that. So there was, one guy came out, when I was going out to the car to get in, the fellow came out and he said, listen here, in Gafne. He said, Mom, is no joking around. He said, you have to put down in writing certain things. He said, it shouldn't be this way. You understand? And he meant it. We'll have to see what we can do. And a very wonderful start has already been made. And we can see, what we could do. Anyway, that's the Nakuda Zaina. And the fact that Yechezkel, that he reelected the way, was one because he doesn't know David, and he doesn't, he was in the yeshiva at a much earlier stage, I think.
I don't know how we got it. I don't know how we got this.
Yeah. Yet nonetheless, he said that was his lesson. He said, every time I finish, I take another turn, and when I have a few minutes, I sit down and read. And he's a person that doesn't have much a few minutes. He doesn't have much of them. But he said when he does have them, that's good. Good. Listen, guys, l'chaim. And it should be a good year. And it should be an Bora. Zayin asher Bora sosin v'simcha. And the Remes Mr. Zayin be'emes freitlich, because we have a treasure which doesn't exist in the whole world. It does in the whole universe. It doesn't exist in the unfinished, the infinitesimal universe. What it may look on a computer be as big as, that's already 1,000 times bigger than what looks on the computer. Of Apple begin, that's a treasure that doesn't exist in that whole huge universe.
Which is?
And those is Kotointi, Mikol, Achsodim, Mikol Haemet. The Alter Rebbe said about himself, he became Botel from all the Chasodim what the Ebrish did. In the fire, he lives in a happy world, he doesn't care about the Messiah. And he says to the Chassidim, don't worry about them, don't fight up, say, don't anything. You do your bit, you become involved, doesn't take. Okay, guys, l'chaim. What can we do? We live until the great moment, any time, any hour. We live in a slightly limited world, so I got to get back to Tzvaz, and Matis has to get back to Tzvaz, and David, where's the Yankel? What happened to Yankel?
I think he already went back.
So we're stuck, Matis. And Be'ez Hashem, we're going to get back with Simcha to Levov in front of tomorrow's another day. We're going to Shabbos in Tzvaz comes at 4 o'clock.
Wow.
Gafne, want to make a l'chaim for Yaakov Rosenberg. He has a son, 30, wants a shidduch for him, so the Hasidic Farbrengen helps a lot. Plus, maybe someone has a daughter, so.
That we are a bigger crowd than what you think. You should realize, you remember, there's one of our Talmidim, you remember him? He lives in Tiberias, no?
Berg.
In Tiberias. Berg. Do you remember when my son Yosef Yitzchak became 3, we made him a Chumash Suda, 5 or something, or 3. We made him in my house a Chumash Suda. Yeah, Beneva. And Rav Landa came and he sat at the table and everything. And I think the Morans guys, I think, yeah, you played on your thing till quite late in the morning. There were 2. There was first of all the Obshervish, and then there was the Chumash. You and Tzvi played. And Zay Berg was there, and he needed a shidduch. For a long time he'd been looking for a shidduch. And we were all sitting there around, and Rav Landa just left. And I said, Rav Gafne, he said, maybe say l'chaim for me, you know. I'm not a voice of catch. You know, and he said, I'm looking for a sitter. Get a bracha. So we gave her a bracha, and a few weeks later he became a chassid. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, sure. And it was the collective force of all of us together. And Blanda joined in. And he was smiling, and he was smiling. They don't remember. It's Bamela, we give a bracha. Praise Hashem.
Yosef Yitzchak. Ben Belachaya.
He should find his zivul, take him miyad ma'am. Mitoich simcha v'tul levov. Mitoich harchovas adas. Mitoich the tatas of harchovas adas b'kol ha'inyanim. And had he called the relief and simcha v'tul levov, take him miyad.
Aaron's in. Danny, will you have also? Wait.
Gafne.
I have to tell it the Rega. Shlomo Chaim ben Yordena.
Aaron Zev Ben.
Aaron Zev Yitzchak. Ziva Agum Bakar. Aaron Zev Yitzchak.
Ben Yosef Ben.
Take him Yonason wants also to. One thing we come here, Yonason.
Aaron Zed.
Aaron Zed, yes,
Jewish. Shoshana Sabicha.
Shoshana Sabicha.
That's all.
Is that hard? Is that hard to do?
Like that one night. I couldn't think. What's the big deal?
Abba from Menachem Mendel Halevi Ben Rachel. There you are, what can I get for a deal?
Amen, amen.
Also for a shidduch for a young lady, Chaya Mushke, Leah Tamar, Batya Mazal.
This guy is in the same that's the one. But feels like in English originally. Yeah, I agree with you.
Where are you? In India? No. We're in India? Indianapolis.
He lost a lot of weight now. He did that operation.
There's an India operation.
He did operate. He's like a whole new different person.
There's still a guy there over there? There's a guy from Brazil.
The two guys from Brazil. Liv Shitz and the guy.
We know he's here.
What? The one that runs the school there.
Brazil? I don't
Are there 7 people who ate bread?
I don't think they would.
Are there 7 people who ate bread?
I don't know. You have to count.
Half of all the
1, 2, 3, 4. We have 7. Okay.
What's the guy's name?
Do we have a Cohen who ate bread?
You're right. Maybe it's a bracha.
Yes, no, yes. It's benches.
Rabbi, I told you about the Miami's Shrine over here at there's so many years. It's not a place to be immersed here, but a place to be Chicago, unbelievable. Every week, non-stop. Shabbos gas, bring him Sunday, civic class every Wednesday. Monday, it's like non-stop. Every time we're after the building. So I'm on Friday, it's like a lot. If you go there and you're not fully immersed in being much, yeah, no, you get swallowed up. I don't know why. The alligators suck you out. And it happened. I didn't bench, thank you. I didn't wash it. And it happens from you didn't go there. And they just wild because it's so much nationalism. So you gotta fight for the rookies. But if you're there for a mission, the Rebbe sent us there came over. So if you're on a mission, then it's good. This one. Two more. Shiloh. Two and then 2.5. Oh, Yaakov didn't leave us.
Such a smart boy. Can't seem to straighten himself out.
Rabbi Gafne, should I stop the recorder?
He's here.